Hey everybody, it's Missy again with the Shimmerz education team. Thanks for joining me again today. I'm going to be scrapbooking these cute pictures of my daughter from a few years ago. She was wearing her little bikini and she decided to grab her little mower and push it around, and it was just too cute. So naturally I had to take pictures of it. So I'm going to be using a lot of the brand new Aqua Hues today, and I'm going to be using a technique that I demonstrated a few weeks ago in one of the Shimmerz shorts. I believe it was number 23. And I'm going to be creating a messy background here, and then I'm going to use circle punches to punch out shapes from this messy background that I'm going to make. Now these are all Aqua Hues. I'm not going to use all of them, but I'm going to use several different colors. This first color is called Hottie Pink. And when you get these, if you have not ordered any yet or you're wondering how they are, they're going to be hard when you open them. And so you need to squirt some water or spray some water in there. And if you order the Choose Your Hues that are the 10-pack of your choice, you also get this water brush. And you just fill it with water and you give it a little squeeze, and just enough water comes out of the tip. And that's all I'm doing here. I'm just squeezing it a little bit to get some water in there, and then I just swirl it around and get some paint and then paint it on. It's super simple. This is another pink color called Little Lily, and I'm just using an American Crafts stencil here, and I'm just kind of making a mess. I'm using it as a stamp, and then I'm using it as a stencil, and I don't want it to look perfect or neat or anything, but I want to create sort of a rainbow effect in a sense. This is called Pot of Gold, and it's a very pretty yellowish gold color. It looks different in the container. I think it looks darker, and when it goes on, it's this really rich golden yellow. It's really pretty, and anybody could do this technique. I'm just messily painting through these little lines here. No rhyme or reason. When you do use this water brush, if you're going to use several colors, just keep a paper towel or napkin close by, so when you switch out your colors, you can easily just wipe the bristles off. You don't even really need a cup of water or anything. You just squeeze some of the water out and wipe the bristles clean. It's very easy. This gorgeous blue color is called Rockin. It's very, very pretty. And as you can see here, I'm just kind of making some colors and some designs on this scrap piece of paper. I mean, it's cardstock, but you can see I've already used a chunk of it for a die cut or something from another layout. So I don't want to waste any paper. And so that's just what I grabbed to use here. And when I'm finished with my layout, you would never even know that it came from a scrap piece of cardstock. So this pretty color is called Seeing Red, and it's a very pretty reddish pink color. Now you can continue to go over let it dry and then go back over it for another coat, and it's going to be darker. You can also add more water to the container and let it sit for longer, and your paint's going to get even thicker, and therefore it's going to be even richer and darker. So it's just going to depend on the look you're going for. I kind of wanted mine to be kind of light. I didn't want really, really dark colors. So I'm not adding a bunch of water to the containers here. I'm just adding just enough that comes out of the water brush. This blue color is called Blew Me Away, and it's just slightly different than the Rockin. One has a more of a turquoise hint to it. Now once I've got all that finished, I love how that looks. I just kind of went crisscross with those lines, and I did want to add a little bit of green. This is called Green with Envy. I'm just going to add a little bit here and there. And I don't think I mentioned in this video that the Aqua Hues are just like the Inklings and Creamies, except the color's a little more bold and there's no shimmer. It's just a flat watercolor. But it is definitely gorgeous. As you can see here, the colors are very, very pretty. I had to restrain myself from, not using all of them. I wanted to use every single color that I have, but I thought, no, I will just use a couple. All right, so my background's not finished yet. I'm going to go in and add some splatters, and this is my favorite Vibez. It's called Jeni Be Bleu, and I'm just kind of splattering it down and drying it up. Yeah, you could do this with any stencil. You could do this with the packaging technique, anything. This is Vibez Sweetheart. I love mixing and matching. This is called Don't Citron Me, and it's a Coloringz. The Coloringz are almost like the Aqua Hues, except they're a spray and they are flat color. They don't have any shimmer either. But it's fun to mix and match the flat colors with the shimmery colors. This is called Glorious Day, that golden yellow color. Now, what inspired me to create this color scheme was the new Dear Lizzy collection. Happy Days, I think it's called. And so that's where I drew my inspiration for these colors. So I'm just taking my different size circle punches here and going through this messy background that I made. And I'm just punching random circles. And I know I've said this before. I've made a few layouts with this technique before. You can't mess this up. I mean, it looks super cool once you've punched all your shapes out, because they just look like little individual pieces of abstract art. They just look really cool. You could do this with monochromatic, with, you know, different shades of blues or different shades of pinks. You could do this with the dazzlers and add some texture. The possibilities are really endless. I think I've punched all that I can punch without making another background. And now I'm just going to start to arrange them how I want it on the background paper. And I printed my pictures in black and white just because I knew that I wanted to use a bunch of those hues colors, and I didn't want the colors to clash with the pictures. So the black and white sort of takes out that whole element of clashing colors. And, you know, there weren't too many important colors in the pictures anyway, so I don't feel like I lost anything by printing them in black and white. So I'm going to go ahead and use my tape gun here to stick these circles down, and, you know, they're not in any particular place. I just kind of wanted it to look like they just sort of fell there. And I will cut off the edges of those that are hanging off this side. So I did some stitching. I just did a crisscross in between each, or not in between, but on top of each of the circles, just to make sure that they're going to stay there. And I also used some light blue thread. It looks kind of white from here, but just add another little pop of blue there. So this is vellum, and I'm just using it behind my pictures there, just for some added border and a little bit of interest. Now I decided to go for some Amy Tan here. This is the new Better Together collection, and so I'm going to wind up combining some Dear Lizzy with the Amy Tan here, because I bought these two collections together, and so I'm storing them together right now, and so they're kind of both, they both have elements that go with the colors that I've got going here. But yeah, the colors of those circles were inspired by the Dear Lizzy. And so I'm combining, the yellow is from Amy Tan and that pink is from Dear Lizzy. And I don't want to do too many background layers simply because those circles are kind of busy as they are. And I didn't want to take away or cover them up. So I just do a minimal layering behind there. And I am going to do my favorite thing with the thread, but I decided that blue is too light. So I'm going to come in with a darker aqua turquoise color and layer it behind the photos. These pictures crack me up. She's so funny. I have a lot more pictures from this little episode, but I'm only using 2 here today. All right, so I decided to fussy cut this out of this Dear Lizzy paper, and it says sunshine equals happiness. And it's kind of like a paintbrush stroke. And so I liked that it was long and horizontal, and so it worked well underneath my pictures down there. And I do want to use these Amy Tan rub-ons, but I didn't quite know where I wanted to put them. So I'm going to take that out of the equation and just go ahead and rub them on some scratch paper here, or another piece of scrap cardstock, and just fussy cut them out. That way I can move them around and use them as embellishments and not have to worry about, oops, I stuck these in the wrong place. And because, you know, once you stick them down, that's it, they're done. And I wanted to use some of these right up because in the past I have let rub-ons sit And it's like they expire, they dry up, and then they just don't rub off. And so I need to get on the ball and use these up. But these flowers are so pretty. The colors are so rich. And I love the leaves, and that green flower is so pretty. So I've got those cut out, and I'm going to play around with it for a second, trying to decide where I want them to go. And I decided to come back and add one more flower. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one and just get it on some cardstock and then cut it out. So I'm going to add this little pink one down here on top of the Sunshine Equals Happiness piece, and then I'm going to layer the big cluster underneath my layers, and then I'm going to go through the Amy Tan ephemera pack, and I'm going to wind up using that pink circle that says love this. And I love that you can punch out the word love, because I'm going to wind up using those little pieces as well. And it worked out because it was a circle and I've already got circle elements going on, so I'm going to use that. I'm also going to use these little balloons. Even though this layout really has nothing to do with balloons, they were the perfect pop of color, and I just like the way they looked. I'm going to raise this little flower up with a pop dot and go ahead and stick all those other flowers down. And you would never really know that those were rub-ons. I love how they look. I wish there was a whole pack of just the floral rub-ons, because I wish I had more of those. I'm going to go ahead and glue everything down, make sure that thread's not going to move. And then I decided the background just looked too clean, so I'm going to come back in with the Rockin' Robin and just add a little bit of blue watercolor effect around the photo cluster. I don't want it to be too bold and too obvious, but just to kind of give the background a little more messy factor, because the circles themselves are messy, but when you punch them out, they become neat and they become organized, and it takes you're making a mess when you create them, but something about punching them out kind of takes away the messy factor, and that's a great thing. I mean, it's great, but I just felt like I needed a little more of a mess. And by I mean mess in a good way. In this instance, I've made plenty of messes that were awful in the past, but I just felt like I needed a little more artsy, watercolory look other than just the circles. And the water brush does this so well, because you control the water flow, and these aqua hues are great. You can make them as subtle or as bold as you want. All right, so my title is going to be Bikini Mowing, because she's wearing a bikini and she's mowing. Even though she's not mowing grass, you know, she's pushing her little mower around. So, yeah, Bikini Mowing, that's my title. And those are just some black thickers from my stash. And I'm going to go ahead and glue down these little love punched out letters there. And I figured that the black thickers were okay since my photos were black and white. I know I don't really have any other black elements going around the page, but that's okay. I like how it looks. I am going to add these two flare buttons, and they're from A Flare for Buttons. And the one down below is just simple. It's white with a black heart. And so that adds another little black pop of black down at the bottom, because I like to you know, scatter all the colors around the page. And then that little flamingo, honestly, it doesn't have anything to do with the pictures. It was just the perfect pink, and it reminds me of summer, and it was definitely summertime weather, even though this was at the end of May, but we live in Florida, so, you know, we have summer a lot around here. So that's why I used the flamingo. Now I'm going to add this sticker here, mainly because I felt like I needed a little something underneath the title. So this little sticker is perfect. And I did add my journaling and some black splatters and some stitching. So that's the final layout. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will have a list of all the colors of the hues, the vibes, and the colorings that I used. The black splatters were Coloringz Night Moves, is the name of that one. Let me know if you have any questions Make sure you visit the new Shimmerz website. It's been redone and it's super easy to order. So thanks for joining me and hope you have a great day. See you next time.